CBS long-running procedural NCIS, currently in its 22nd season, is facing uncertainty about its future due to declining viewership. Despite being an iconic series, its ratings have hit all-time lows, with recent episodes attracting fewer than 5 million viewers, comparable to the viewership numbers of the cancelled NCIS, Hawaii. This dip in ratings, along with the cancellation of NCIS, Hawaii, suggests that CBS may be reconsidering the show's viability, even though NCIS remains a flagship show. However, CBS is expanding the NCIS franchise with spin-offs like NCIS Origins and NCIS Sydney, which could indicate that the brand will continue even if the flagship series ends. Is CBS about to cancel NCIS? Based on CBS history of cancellations, there might be a chance that the network will pull the plug on NCIS. The long-running procedural is already an institution not just for its broadcaster but on network TV as it's in its 22nd season. Currently, it is the third longest-running scripted, live-action U.S. TV series that is currently airing, only being surpassed only by NBC and Dick Wolf's Law & Order, Special Victims Unit and Law & Order, which are airing their 26th and 24th seasons, respectively. Admittedly, it's difficult to imagine TV without NCIS, but it may be nearing its end. It would be an understatement to say that NCIS has gone through so many changes throughout its run. As with the majority of long-running ensemble shows, it has said goodbye to several cast members and welcomed new ones. Still, its biggest loss was when Mark Harmon's Leroy Jethro Gibbs retired in NCIS Season 19, since he had been its face since its inception. Still, the procedural rolled with the changes, with the arrival of Gary Coleman's Alden Parker taking over MCRT. While the transition was smoother than initially theorized, new information may be a cause for concern regarding NCIS' future. NCIS Season 22 has some of the show's all-time low ratings. The viewership numbers are not good this year for NCIS. Per a report from TV Line, NCIS Season 22, Episode 6, Night and Day dipped to 4.92 million viewers, tying the episode The Trouble with Hal from 3 weeks ago. Based on public records, however, the current year also has its lowest ratings in its more than 2 decades on the air. NCIS Season 22, Episode 4, Sticks and Stones posted just 4.76 million viewers, which, interestingly, tackled one of the strongest and most impactful stories on MCRT in its current run. In the outing, Parker and the rest of the team fought hard to stop a burgeoning World War III, while Jessica Knight and Jimmy Palmer finally talked about the status of their relationship. Story-wise, it was a solid episode. Its weekly case was compelling, as Parker, Tim McGee, and Nick Torres defied orders and antagonized the FBI, a recurring theme throughout the show's history. Meanwhile, it also delivered on the much-awaited decision on Knight and Palmer's fate as a couple. NCIS Season 22 ratings is at par with NCIS Hawaii before it got cancelled. CBS cancellation of NCIS Hawaii set a scary precedent. Luckily, NCIS Season 22 was able to bounce back after its show low rating, but the succeeding episode's viewership was still very far from its numbers in Season 21. NCIS is a network TV institution, so normally, this shouldn't be a cause for concern, especially since it's still performing above its fellow long-running procedurals. That being said, CBS canceling NCIS Hawaii set a precedent, insinuating that the flagship may not be as safe as perceived. CBS has given various explanations about why they actually canceled NCIS Hawaii, and that included its ratings in connection with its cost management efforts and interest in revamping its lineup. Looking at Vanessa Lachey's spin-off's viewership in Season 3's first 9 episodes and comparing it to NCIS Season 22's data, they virtually pulled the same numbers. Episodes: NCIS Season 22, NCIS Hawaii Season 3. U.S. viewers, millions. U.S. viewers, millions. 1. 6.42. 5.56. 2. 5.37. 5.22. 3. 4.92. 5.40. 4. 4.76. 5.40. 5, 5.26, 4.82, 6, 4.92, 4.98, 7, 5.62, 5.40, 8, 4.89, 5.12, 9, 4.92, 5.07, average, 5.23, 5.21. It may likely be more expensive to film on location in Hawaii for the offshoot than with the long-established sets for the flagship, but one must also factor in the salaries of the people involved. Both Sean Murray and Brian Dietzen have been in NCIS for more than 2 decades, and with that comes big payouts. Meanwhile, established names like Gary Cole and Wilmer Valderrama would have higher rates than relatively up-and-comers from NCIS, Hawaii. Can CBS afford not to have the flagship NCIS show? The NCIS franchise will continue beyond the mothership. It's an understatement to say that NCIS underwent many changes in the last few years. Losing Gibbs in itself was a big one, and something that many thought would spell the end of the series. That said, the show continues and still performs decently despite the significant dip in ratings. If it wasn't for the NCIS, Hawaii's controversial cancellation, one would assume that this shouldn't even be discussed. That said, network TV is fast evolving. Aside from its offshoot, CBS also ended Blue Bloods, another established show that was performing well for them, emphasizing that anything is possible at this point. For what it's worth, the franchise will continue if CBS decides to pull the plug on NCIS flagship show. In 2024, the network launched NCIS Origins, which tackles Gibbs' earliest years in the agency. There's also NCIS Sydney, its very first international offshoot. Finally, there's also the much-anticipated return of Michael Weatherly and Cote de Pablo in NCIS, Tony and Ziva.